Hello, today we're going to be making a plant pot holder to put into the garden on the pergola. Going to be holding a tomato plant. Going to be using one of these plastic pots, angle it slightly against the wall so the back of it is plumb, and it'll have a slight forward lean, which will help a little bit with drainage, but also encourage the plant to grow forwards and downwards over the edge of the bulb. So for this job, I'm going to be using a piece of oak. It's 3/4 of an inch or 18mm wide, which is too thick. So I'm going to resaw it down in half. So that will give us walls of about 7mm by the time the curve for the saws come off, which will be plenty strong enough and robust enough for a small job like this. So let's see how we get on. So we're going to align this pot and then angle it round and then trace around it. So this pot is 110mm square, and it's call it 125 deep. So what we need to do is to put a little piece inside the pot, not as wide as that, but we'll sit in there and allow that to sit on just to hold it in place. This is the pot I'm using. So put that on the edge of there, make sure its back and front is touching, and then come down a little bit so we're slightly oversized. Draw a line across there to establish that angle, and put a little mark just slightly outside where the edge of the pot comes, and then do at the bottom just below where that pot is there. I'll cut these square first, and then there, across like that, and then that's where the bottom of the pot was. And that line, we'll do this properly in a minute, but that line will roughly marry that one. So you'll have a parallelogram. The front of it is going to be the same height as the sides. The back will need to be taller. So let's say 50mm more, call that 200mm. So we'll come down 200mm there, and put a line across there. So all of our, I'll cut it off there in a second, all of our wood will come out of this piece. I'll resaw this in half, so that will give us the two sides, and this will give us the front and back, and the two sides will be there. Okay, so we've cut the boards to rough size now, and now we need to resaw them in half on the table saw. Before we do this, we need to find the centre line. Now, you can obviously measure it, but because you've got to take into account the curve of the blade, I find that the easiest way to do it is to get your marking gauge, set a line approximately where you think the middle is, make a little mark, and then turn it over and make another little mark. I'll mark these two in pencil just so you can see where they are. The difference between the two is the centre of the board. With a table saw, it's handy to have the two lines so you can see exactly where you need to put your blade to give you an even split across the two pieces. So we'll raise the blade up just over halfway on the piece of wood, and we'll align the fence with the curve of the blade. There we are, that gives us two pieces equal size. Then we can move on to the next bit. So the next thing to do is to run all the boards through the thicknesser. My workshop's quite small, so I keep my thicknesser underneath one of the workbenches. We'll just feed these through a few times just to make sure they're all exactly the same thickness. So now we've got four pieces, all the same thickness. and we've got the marked cutouts for the side. These two pieces are the front and back. We'll get onto those in a second. So what I want to do first, I'm going to join these together with some double-sided tape and then take it across to the bandsaw and cut the shape out. So they're stuck. I'll go to the bandsaw, cut those off. So I'll set the angle on the mitre gauge so that the top and bottom angles are exactly parallel with each other, and then we'll cut them off. Separate these two pieces. Yeah, there we are. We've got our two sides, okay? Now the front and the back are going to be different sizes. The front is going to be the same length as the sides, if that makes sense. And then the back will be longer. So let's cut the front here. So we've got our front piece and our two sides, a back piece, which is 50mm longer than the front piece. The easiest way to do that, put these two together, little mark there, and then just measure 50mm above. So here we've got 4 pieces all cut. So the only other thing to do is to put a couple of little rails on the inside so the pot lip has something to rest against when it's on there. So this is, as I mentioned earlier, 5mm and that's 6mm. I had a look through my scrap bin and I found this piece of ash off-cut from something or other, no idea what. One of those pieces that you keep just in case. Fix it onto the side panels and then we'll clean everything up and do the final assembly. So, just marking the inside of the two side pieces so that we fix the rail onto the right part. Measuring the width of it again just to double check, it's 110mm. So we need to cut 2 pieces 80mm long to support the pot inside. These bits have a bit of finish on from previously. I'm not going to take it off because it'll help protect the wood. Now these are 5mm thick, which is the same size as the lip of the pot. So I'm going to use them as a template to give me a line to fix the supports to. Be fixing them on with a dab of CA glue and some wood glue. Spray accelerator just so that it goes off immediately. And it'll act as a clamp for the wood glue while it's drying. Just give them a quick wipe off with a bit of shop towel, get rid of the squeeze out, and just sand up the edges with a sanding block, ready for assembly. Just doing a quick dry fit just to check how it's all going to fit together. So moving on to final assembly, using the same technique, using one panel to make sure that the piece is properly aligned, fixing it in place with super glue to act as a clamp alongside the wood glue. And again, use an accelerator to speed everything up and acts as a clamp. So I've clamped a right angle corner block, aluminium corner block into the corner, just to hold the corners square while the glue dries. I want to cut some corner braces, so I'm going to use this piece of offcut from the back piece, I think it is. It's going to cut off some corners, and we'll do 30, 30, 30, and 30. It gives us 4 corner cut-off pieces. Just going to use a dab of super glue to hold these in place. So if you've enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the like button for me. It really helps out the channel and lets YouTube know that it's a sort of video that other woodworkers might enjoy. Here's the planter finished and up on the wall. If it's raining this weekend and you don't want to be out in the garden, here's a project to brighten up your home. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.